Congressman Pocan on the line with us, and Jan in Tonasket, Washington. Am I saying that right, Jan, watching us on Free Speech TV?
Yeah, Tonasket. Yeah, hi, Tom. Hi, Congressman Pocan.
Hi, Jan.
I just wanted to kind of like just get your feeling on the contrast between the Petraeus affair during Obama's administration and then the Flynn. I think the whole deal behind this thing is Flynn. You know, that it's all about Flynn, and you know, all this other stuff is you know, kind of just arbitrary, really, just, you know, trying to figure out what Trump was doing and all that. But Petraeus, you know, got off scot-free, essentially. Is Flynn going to get off scot-free?
Yeah, Jan, well, Petraeus didn't get off scot-free, but Petraeus shared national security information with his girlfriend. And Flynn, we don't know why he did what he did. I mean, he went to that RT dinner. He was paid to go to that. That may or may not mean anything. He took $500,000 from the Turkish government and wrote an op-ed. That seems to me, and then never revealed that. That seems to me quite consequential. I'm sorry, Congressman, I'm stepping on this question. It's yours.
No, yeah, Tom, yeah, everything you said is correct. And I would just go a little broader in Jan, as I talk about this. Is, you know, this, don't forget all the other campaign officials who there still is questions whether there's collusion within what happened with the Russian interference in our elections. And then there's even the questions on his son-in-law, and he's brought into this conversation. I mean, this is, I think, much, much broader than Mike Flynn. The narrow initial investigation that's brought us to this point to have the firing of the FBI director was more specifically about Mike Flynn. But, again, a huge difference between, I think, telling your girlfriend something and potentially sharing information with another government. And I think just the breadth of it is so much farther and bigger. I think this really I know there are some who don't want us to talk about impeachment, but I don't see how you can ignore the conversation about impeachment as you watch everything in the multitude of levels and layers of what's going on.
Yeah, well, and the thing that I keep waiting for is for Republicans to start promoting Mike Pence. When I start hearing Republicans talking about how noble Mike Pence is, defending Mike Pence, promoting Mike Pence, you know, because we know that a couple of weeks ago he opened a presidential campaign committee.
Yep.
And so, you know, he's now officially campaigning for president, not for vice president. And, you know, that's and you wonder what, you know, Trump thinks of that, or if he even is aware of it. But you know, it seems to me like you know, when the Republicans start talking favorably about Pence, that tells me that they've decided to throw Trump off the bus, and I don't think they're quite there yet.
Well, and don't forget, he got mentioned in the testimony today that he knew about Mike Flynn stuff before, but we all thought that he was lied to. He knew about it during the transition, is what Mr.
Yeah,
said
that's
today.
right. That's right. That's what Comey said. Yeah. So we may end up with a dual impeachment. That would be entertaining. And PJ in Suisun City, California. Do I have it right? PJ?
Soon.
Hey, you're on the air with Congressman Pocan.
Hi, Tom. Hi, Congressman. Yeah, I am concerned that everybody is talking about how there's no evidence that the election actual votes were tampered with. Yet I remember there was supposedly 75,000 votes missing in Detroit for president. And I wondered if you guys know of any revelations or new information about that.
Yeah, well, TJ, I mean, there was the person now who's been arrested for leaking a classified document that specifically addressed this. The Intercept put out a story about, I shouldn't say specifically addressed the 75,000, but specifically addresses the tampering at the election level of trying to hack into one of the companies that makes the voting machines, and then hacking into, I think it's over 100 different local election officials across the country. And my guess is this is the beginning of this story, not the end of the story. Keith Ellison and Hank Johnson and I have introduced a bill called the SAFE Act, which tries to get at election protections in general, which would do things like make sure that our elections are part of our national security infrastructure, which is like our utilities and our banking systems, to provide that extra security, to make sure that the commission that the Republicans earlier this year got rid of that would approve any patches sent from companies on machines for updates has to be approved. The Republicans got rid of that earlier this year. We want to put that back in place. We want to make sure that everyone has a paper trail on their electronic voting machine, no matter where you live in the country, and that we have random auditing of, I think it's 5% of elections, so that there's a strong disincentive for tampering because it'll be found because there'll be this random auditing of elections afterwards. I think that is an important step, and I'm sure there's other measures we could do. But now that we know via this leak that there was an attempt to interfere with our elections more directly, I can only imagine that there is more to come on this.
Yeah, and there is more in the past too. If you look back at the history of Redshift, we've got a we never should have privatized our voting system. I mean, this is the beating heart of America. Anyhow, Dave in Federal Way, Washington. Dave, you're on the air with Congressman Pocan.
Yeah, hey, Congressman Pocan. I got a question for you because you seem to have a really good read on Paul Ryan, and I can't get a read on Paul Ryan at all. I just see him as kind of an opportunistic fellow who's really got no firm, value focus. And his statements are really confusing to me because it's sort of – there's this theory out there that the Trump administration is actually, in spite of their, how they project themselves, are really in disarray. Now, I've never bought off on that theory, but I guess Vice President Pence did cancel a PBS interview at the last minute. And, I mean, there is some indication, and I guess, President Trump's gotten all these lawyers that aren't really – they're really more like private lawyers than they are government lawyers. So is there any – do you have a sense that Paul Ryan's reaction to all this kind of validates that theory that they're in disarray, and possibly Paul Ryan is doing some sort of reverse psychology, like he's kind of siding with Trump because he doesn't want to get he doesn't want to be seen as a real valid participant in all this or something?
Yeah, I'll tell you, Dave, I think there's two separate issues that you brought up. One is I do think the White House is in disarray because clearly, they have been so inept at so many things for so long that can't be a plan. It's just too bad and too painful to watch them execute things. I think the story around Paul Ryan is, Paul Ryan gave a bluntly honest assessment earlier this year when he said they're having a hard time transitioning from an opposition party to a governing party, even though they've been in charge since 2011. And I think what the honesty of there is, they're with the Tea Party, they don't really think their job is to run government. Now suddenly they're supposed to, and we saw the ineptness of putting out an alternative health care proposal after all those years. They really didn't know what they're doing. I think Paul Ryan understands that the fortune of the House Republicans is also tied to the fortune of how the president does, and they're going to be with the president 100% until they're not. And
then they're going to turn fast.
Right? That's what Tom was talking about, is at some point when we see that transition, we'll know that the president's going down.
Right.
And
when they start praising Mike Pence, know the rats are fleeing the ship.
Yeah, but right now I think he's just doing what he thinks he still has to do to make, because they're going to, again, have their fortunes tied to the president. However, again, that's party over country.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. Congressman Mark Pocan is with us. He is the co-chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, representing the 2nd District of Wisconsin in the United States House of Representatives. Your opportunity to talk to one of our most prominent congressmen. We'll be back with your calls for Congressman Pocan.